There is a place where rivers flow across emerald fields, like endless dreams, like silk threads woven into a carpet of promising dreams. This is a place where the land breathes stories of resilience, faith, love, struggle, and hope. This is Bangladesh, home to the world's longest unbroken sea beach, stretching over 120 kilometers along the Bay of Bengal, Cox's Bazar. A place where sky and sand embrace endlessly, wildly and tamely at the same time, otherworldly. It's a place that seems to slow us all down, to take in the beauty of nature, the beauty of life. These colors, sounds, smells, this is what dreams are made of. This is also the land of the majestic Sundarbans, the largest mangrove forest on Earth, where the Royal Bengal tiger moves like a shadow, rarely showing himself to the curious eye of a tourist. Bangladesh is vibrant with colors, woven into saris drying in the sun. Bangladesh's rhythm and music in the hearts of its people, and in azan, the call to prayer. Bangladesh's warmth and its balobasha, its love, in the smile of a farmer, a homemade meal, in the eyes of a tea seller, a child in the street. Bangladesh is a silent pride intertwined with tears of joy and humble bows in a prayer. It's a country of 170 million dreams, where people rise before the sun, and cities never sleep. A place where tradition is yet to meet innovation in its entirety, but it's ready and waiting for it. To visitors, tourists, onlookers, it seems as though Bangladesh is a gem that is waiting to be told its value. Bangladesh is youth, its energy, it's the relentless spirit of a people who refuse to be forgotten or put aside. The 170 million dreams defying reality, not letting go of hope or dreams. But beneath this breathtaking beauty lies a truth, a roaring sensation of oppression, unfairness, hijacked opportunities, a truth that 1 July could no longer stay silent. For 15 years, Bangladesh was ruled by Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina and her Awami League. She was the eldest daughter of Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, who led Bangladesh to independence from Pakistan in 1971. Her leadership claimed to uphold human rights and development. Economic growth is attributed to her as an achievement, where her government oversaw major infrastructure projects, like the Padma Bridge, digitization campaigns, Digital Bangladesh, and strong GDP growth. However, she had been accused of authoritarianism, and her government was criticized for undermining democracy, suppressing dissent, controlling the media, and using security forces against any and all opponents. Elections under Hasina 2014, 2018, 2024 were also widely criticized as unfree and unfair, a system increasingly marked by corruption, control, and suppression. When in summer 2024, her government reinstated the controversial quota system, reserving 30% of government jobs for descendants of veterans from the Independence War. For thousands of students, this meant one thing only: their futures would be decided not by merit, but by lineage. It wasn't just a policy, it was institutional discrimination. In July 2024, revolution was a word whispered among the young, a word which their parents and grandparents could feel in their bones but were no longer strong or ferocious enough to make it their agenda. A roar that rose from classrooms, campuses, and the hearts of the young was inevitable, and no one could silence it again. The young were not ready to have their dreams crushed by a ruthless, unfair, autocratic pamphlet announced in the previous month by the authorities. On June 5, 2024, Bangladesh's High Court reinstated a 30% quota in public sector jobs for descendants of freedom fighters, a move seen as a rollback of a merit-based system introduced in 2018. It was history repeating itself, where discrimination is no longer a secret, where a family name will be a shortcut to a prosperous career. On July the 1st, thousands of students rallied at Dhaka University, demanding restoration of the 2018 circular and a merit-based hiring system. It began with a demand for fairness, a call to end a decades-old system that valued bloodlines over merit. Students stood up not for power, but for principle and for their future. The protests spread, the movement evolved. The heartbeat of the nation was pounding. The pride and dignity collided with resistance to losing the dream of the bright future. The red color in the flag began to feel like the people's red heart, ready to explode once more in the history of this nation. Students formed the Anti-Discrimination Student Movement and issued a coordinated 9-point demand list, expanding beyond quotas, calling for talks, calling for communication to take place, hoping to be heard, rather than receive the dismissive and condescending attitude displayed by the Prime Minister herself and her party. But the dialogue was not an option. The response they received was silence, followed by gunfire. Hundreds were beaten, thousands were detained, and more than 1,000 daughters and sons of Bangladesh never returned home. In a press conference that followed, the so-called Mother of the Nation, as Sheikh Hasina was often referred to by her admirers, called students grandchildren of Razakar, a deeply derogatory label related to 1971 collaborators. This way, provoking widespread outrage following the imposed curfew now in force nationwide, she labeled those engaging in sabotage and destruction as terrorists, effectively dehumanizing the protesters. The internet connection was shut down nationwide in order to pull over a blanket of darkness over the entire country, assuming this will enable her government to quickly and silently hush the nation and prevent them from what she still didn't see as inevitable, a revolution. A leaked BBC-aired audio suggests she authorized brutal force, used lethal weapons, allegedly instructing security forces to shoot demonstrators wherever found. Her ruthless tactics, her heartless words and actions sparked greater national solidarity with the students. Because you cannot crush the nation's heart, you cannot silence, forbid, or kill Balobasha, even with the army on your side. The state has declared war, not on terrorists or invaders, but on its own future, the youth. The world watched and wept. But the students, they did not run. Their bravery awakened a nation. From city squares to remote villages, Bangladesh stood together yet again, embracing hope for change. At last, daring to imagine new Bangladesh. Bangladesh did not break. It rose. On July the 16th, the movement changed forever. During a peaceful demonstration, a student was shot and killed by police using shotguns. His death ignited a wave of grief and fury across the country. The protest grew, and not just in size, but in its purpose too. It was no longer just about quotas. It was about accountability, justice, and the right to freedom of speech. The spark was ignited. One district in Dhaka became the epicenter, Jatrabari, a crucial highway junction connecting Dhaka with the country's biggest seaport, Chattogram, a symbol of control. As protesters tried to block the road, police opened fire. Documents later leaked from the local police station showing the extent of force used. Over 2,400 live rounds fired, nearly 700 from assault rifles. More than 200 tear gas canisters deployed in one day. Civilians were shot. Bystanders were beaten. It will be remembered as Bloody July, the sign visible in graffiti in many cities in Bangladesh nowadays. What happened next? How Bloody July lasted 36 days? And whether there is new Bangladesh, a year after the students' movement? Watch in our next episode. New Dawn, New Bangladesh.